Hi there everyone, it's me, Lamer Gamer from Dragon Bloggers. Hope you're all doing well. Now the reason you may notice that I have a normal background, no green screen behind me today, is because today I'm bringing you a review video of a webcam. Not the webcam you can see me on right now. We are going to be using the Depstech HD camera. Now this camera on the front of the box shows that it can do a 360-degree horizontal spin. It has an omnidirectional mic. It says it's a HD camera. And looking at the specs, I believe it can go up to 2K. But what we're going to do is we're going to be doing an unboxing and a comparison with my Logitech BRIO 4K as well. Just to see if there is a massive difference between a 4K camera and a 2K camera like this one. So first of all, the box came to me, it looks kind of beat up. There's a little smudge on the front, so wherever it's been, it's not been stored that well. But it doesn't look like there's going to be any damage to the unit inside. On the front, you can see here, it says Depstech. It's got all the details across here on the front. Around the sides, tells me what the model number is and the product. It also tells me that it can go up to 2560 by 1440 pixels. So yeah, it could be quite a tasty little camera. I know it's quite affordable compared to the other models. Let's see how a camera that works on a smaller budget compares to, say, like my Logitech BRIO camera. Let's see what's inside the box. We have a camera and a cable. Once again, the camera is just sort of loose around inside the box. Not really. I'd say it's well packaged, but not sort of what I would be expecting for a webcam, because it rattles around. There's nothing really protecting it from the outside world apart from this little like foamy type bag. So we're going to take the camera out of the bag and see what we get. Don't it remind you of the Kinetic camera for the Microsoft Xbox? There it is. It even says on the front there, if you can see, 2K. I have noticed that the cable here is not removable, so if you do have quite a long run from your PC or your laptop to where you want to mount this camera, you got to take that into consideration. The camera does a full 360 there, gives us a good little tilt as well, so I can tilt it. I'm sure we can tilt it better if we did that with it. We've got the clip that will sit on top of your monitor or whatever you're sitting it on, so it's just a case of folding it out. Okay, it's pretty half decent quality, to be fair. It's got a little screw mount as well, if you need to screw it into any sort of adapters or anything like that you might have, like a tripod. On the whole, it looks like a solid build. It's got a nice feel to it. It's plastic, and yeah, and it goes into a normal sort of USB port. After a quick review of the manual, it looks like it is literally a plug and play, and the PC will install its drivers for you. So that's pretty much all you can see on the camera. The next thing to do is to plug it in. At the moment, you can hear me talking. I'm using a Razer Siren X microphone here, so that will be getting replaced, and I will be using the in-camera microphone as well. Then for my post review comparison, we will go back to the Razer Siren X microphone as well. Okay, so this footage that you're seeing right now is on the Logitech BRIO 4K webcam. I'm also using the microphone built into the camera as well, so that you can directly compare the sound of the camera. What I'm going to do now is change the resolution of this 4K camera to the same as the Depstech one, so that we can compare them like for like. Otherwise, it's just no point in comparing a 4K camera to a 2K camera. We can actually compare how the more budget-friendly camera is against the Logitech BRIO. So the pixels I have here on the box are 2560 by 1440 pixels. So I'm just going to change my properties in my camera now. Okay, so the screen does get a little bit smaller. To be fair, I'm not seeing a humongous amount of difference in the picture quality. I've got all my exposures and everything set to auto as well on the BRIO. So let's plug in the Depstech one and see what the comparison is then. So you may see here that within a minute the device is set up and ready to go, according to Microsoft. Okay, so we've now plugged in the new camera. This is currently being recorded on the BRIO at the same pixel rate as the new camera. So I will be able to hear back what this audio sounds like, and I'll review it back when I do my overview at the end. Hopefully there's no massive noticeable changes for the worse. One thing I did notice whilst plugging this camera in, that whilst it's recording, there is no light on it to indicate that it is on. Also, the camera doesn't come with like a little privacy flap, which I'm sure you can get from somewhere else. So now, the moment of truth. What does the new camera look like? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's turning it onto this recording view now. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is there's quite a wide angle lens on this. So you can see a lot more of the room here than you could with my BRIO, as you can see here. You can just about see the edge of my chair there. Whereas with the new camera from Depstech, you can see a lot more of the room. You can see my glass that I was trying to hide out of shot. You can see my little bear inflatable balloon for my birthday the other week. So yeah, there's a considerable difference. Also, it's quite rich in colour. Bearing in mind I haven't touched any of the colour settings on this at all. I've also noticed that the bulkhead up here is visible. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my camera so you can see what these black bits are up here. It's the bulkhead of my desk, just so you don't start freaking out thinking that the camera's broken, because it's really not. I'll just get my phone, stick it a video. Hello me, just to let you know that this is me. There's the camera. So like I said, that on the Logitech BRIO, there's a little white LED here that tells me that it's live, whereas on this camera, there's nothing. And then to see the bulkhead, if I swing out a little bit, you can see here that there's like a top shelf to my desk. So that's what you're seeing there. There's Calibri. So we're going to zoom in now, and we're going to return back to camera view. To be fair, I quite like the angle of this camera. It looks like there's a little bit of a delay. You obviously may not see this, but it looks like there's quite a noticeable delay between when I do things. So if I clap now, yeah, there's about a half a second delay, whereas with the BRIO, instant. So there's a slight delay as well in the recording function. So that's something that needs to be taken into account as well. Aside from that, it seems to be recording well. I'm just going to check and make sure all the settings and parameters are okay in Streamlabs. But yeah, all the color settings and that are all set to default here as well. This happening here is not so much of an issue, because all you have to do that is press Alt and drag in, and then you start losing the box. If you don't know how to do that, you now do. So little secret tip there from us at Dragon Bloggers. And there you go. And it also gives you more of a profile, I find, as well. Because if I was to compare this to the BRIO, look what I've got to do to get that sort of angle on me. The camera doesn't even go down that far. So I would actually have to angle the camera to get more of me in, you know, and then you'd be cutting off your head and stuff. But on the whole, I think this is quite a nice looking camera. Okay, so now we're back on the BRIO 4K webcam, recording in 4K with the Razer Siren X microphone. Now you should be able to see that there is definitely an advantage to having a separate microphone to webcam. However, if you are looking for a webcam microphone all-in-one, then here are the pros and cons of this webcam. The pros, I think the camera is very good. It gives you a nice wide angle shot as opposed to the BRIO, which is very much straight on. This camera also has a 360 field of view, so you can spin it around in a circle on its base. It has a tripod mount as well. The BRIO cannot turn 360. However, I'm not too sure where I would need an application where I need the camera to turn the other way and point at someone opposite me. Maybe in a conference setting, possibly. If you're using it not for streaming and you're trying to point it and operate a PC somewhere and video a conference, that might be an option. I also do like the fact that it has a very wide field of view, so you can get everything in your room. If you have one of those setups where your background has loads of interesting things going on, like lights and videos and pictures that glow, even if you're using the hue lights where you can control it with Stream Now, then it is a pretty good camera to do that, so you can give your viewers something really interesting to look in the background on. I don't stream like that. I stream with a green screen behind me, so I have a transparent background, so it's probably not the best option for me. Most streaming resolutions are locked at 1080p anyway, so I would suggest that a 2K camera will actually hit the mark, considering that your camera is going to be like a small fraction of the screen, or maybe even if you're in a just chatting video, then that might be a little bit bigger. Or if you're doing video guides like this is also just as good. It is a very cost-effective webcam. You can buy these online, and I'm sure we'll have a link in the description below so you can find out where to get these from. Another good thing about this camera is it literally just plug and play. I didn't have to download any drivers, the PC did it all, and it recognised it within less than a minute. So once you've got it plugged in, you're pretty much ready to roll. So that's the pros. On the con side of things, you don't have a go live indicator light on the front, so you don't know whether the camera's recording or not unless you check somewhere in your software, or you just hope it is. Whereas I quite like that the BRIO, once again, has a light that just tells you that it's on and recording. You also don't necessarily always know when someone's hacked your camera. To help stop that, the BRIO does come with its own privacy flap that looks a little bit like this, which I'm sure if I try, it will fit over the front of this camera. Yeah, which it does. You can just flop down over the front. But that came free with that camera. This does not come with it. In the box, you literally have the camera and the manual. You are limited to 2K. If you do want something with a higher resolution, then I would suggest saving up money. But then again, like I said, for the price, you're getting a 2K camera that can video pretty well. Another thing about this camera is the cable. It is a fixed length and it does not come out. You're limited to 150 centimeters of length. So if you have to run it at a considerable distance, that's something you really need to take into account, especially if you're putting it on a tripod or something like that. Be careful of trip hazards, because obviously you want it running nice and low to the floor. But obviously if the cable's too short, you're going to end up coming off the floor and possibly creating a big trip hazard. Now the thing that I think let this camera down the most, and I know that this is supposed to be a webcam, but it does have a built-in microphone as well, is the microphone. Now listening back to the webcam footage from this camera, I could hear a distinct fuzzing and buzzing, which is a bit of a shame because I would have really liked this camera to have a nice solid microphone, quite similar to the BRIO. Although, like I said, unlike a dedicated microphone that is designed purely for sound, it is trying to do two jobs at once. Once again, you are looking at a very affordable product. So if you do want something that packs a bit more punch, then I would suggest saving up a little bit more and making sure that you go for the camera that is the right spec for you. Or even going for a separate webcam and microphone combination like I'm doing now. And my final downside for this is not even about the camera, it's about the packaging. And yes, I'm a stickler for packaging, because this is not going to protect your camera from anything, even if it's inside cardboard. Look, I can put my finger right through that. You know, if that cardboard box gets dropped and it's not in a padded envelope or anything like that, your camera is going to get damaged. And yes, I know it's a cost-effective camera, but if people put a bit more time into the packaging, you know, there's going to be a lot less disappointed people when their kit does arrive damaged. I know some people can see that as being quite harsh. I would want my products to turn up, and I would like to know that they've been well looked after. And let's face it, there's less chance of it failing out of the box if it's been packaged really securely. Once again, I reviewed both these cameras stripped back, so there was no filters, there was no compression, no EQ done on the sound. The only thing I may have added is a bit of volume where the camera and microphones are a bit quiet. But apart from that, it is if I plugged both cameras in and just pressed go. This way I thought it gives both cameras an equal opportunity to show you what they can do out of the box. I'm sure you can do things like add filters in to stop the buzzing and stuff like that. But obviously that all comes in post-editing and making sure it fits your stream. And at the end of the day, the microphones might work different with different voices. But my experience, I didn't quite like the microphone on this camera, so I would be using this camera purely as a camera with a separate microphone. But yeah, please feel free to write in the comments any questions you have about the camera. That's me, Lamer Gamer, done on this review. I hope you've enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did like it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also click the bell so you know every time Dragon Bloggers posts a new video. You can also find me streaming over on Twitch. Ask me any questions in chat, and in the meantime, you take care and I'll see you online. Cheers.